corruption and disability. What is the nexus? Welcome to LTS, where we have conversations on disability and inclusion. I aim to indulge your curiosity on the lives of persons with disabilities, their experiences, culture, and how to include them in society based on a Kenyan perspective and generally in Africa. What is corruption? Corruption is the abuse of entrusted power for private gain. It manifests in various forms, typically involving dishonest or fraudulent conduct by those in positions of authority. Some common forms of corruption include bribery, embezzlement, fraud, nepotism, extortion, cronyism, and kickbacks. Corruption undermines trust in institutions, distorts markets, hampers economic development, and exacerbates inequality and poverty. It can occur in both the public and private sectors and can range from minor misuse of influence to significant, widespread criminal enterprises. How does it affect persons with disabilities? Corruption disproportionately affects persons with disabilities by limiting their access to essential services, exacerbating employment discrimination, misallocation of resources meant for disability programs, undermining legal protections, and obstructing political participation. This exacerbates their marginalization and discrimination, limiting their opportunities and access to a fair and inclusive society. How do persons with disabilities involve themselves in corruption? Persons with disabilities can be involved in corruption in ways similar to the general population. Their involvement, however, might be influenced by unique factors related to their circumstances. Persons with disabilities might engage in corruption through bribery to access services, fraudulent claims for benefits, exploitation of disability program resources, misuse of influence for favoritism, and corrupt practices to secure their rights in corrupt environments. However, they are more often victims of corruption due to systemic barriers and discrimination. What are the barriers on persons with disabilities in eliminating corruption? Persons with disabilities face several barriers in eliminating corruption. These include lack of access to information, inaccessible physical spaces or reporting processes, limited political participation, societal discrimination and stigma, economic vulnerability, inadequate legal protections, limited organizational capacity, and dependence on public services. These challenges make it difficult for persons with disabilities to effectively combat corruption. What can be done? Persons with disabilities can actively combat corruption by advocating for inclusive measures, engaging in policy making, reporting corruption, partnering and collaborating with different organizations, promoting transparency, training and educating their peers and the general community, leveraging legal frameworks, and utilizing media and social platforms. These actions can empower persons with disabilities to address corruption's impact on their community and contribute to the broader anti-corruption efforts. National Gender and Equality Commission Framework for the Inclusion of Persons with Disabilities in Anti-Corruption Programming in Kenya. The National Gender and Equality Commission in Kenya launched the framework for the inclusion of persons with disabilities in anti-corruption programming in Kenya. The specific objectives of the framework are 1. To establish standards for guiding responsible entities on how to ensure that anti-corruption initiatives and programming are disability inclusive and responsive. 2. To enable persons with disabilities and their representative organizations to exercise their agency meaningfully by contributing to the fight against corruption. And 3. To strengthen collaboration, coordination, and partnerships between responsible entities and organizations of and for persons with disabilities in the fight against corruption. The development of the framework involved other government agencies, organizations of persons with disabilities, and the donor community. In the words of Bishop Dr. David Ogindi, Chairperson Kenya's Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, corruption knows no compassion. Don't ask, don't give, don't take.